everybody. Welcome to Carlie's Couch.
I am super excited this week because it is our 150th episode, like 150.
Yeah, we've been going a long time, and so we're excited to have reached this milestone, and we have something a little special for you today. But first, how you doing, Carlie?
I'm excited. I was about to say salud because we have wine today. So
Oh
if
yeah,
you're
we
watching
do.
the video, say that
Cheers.
salud to us for being hella consistent. But I'm doing wonderful. Real peaceful day, resting. I've been really sleepy, so getting some rest in. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Been working hard, getting things done. So this is almost the end of our day here today, and we're excited because we've had a lot of interesting chats over the years and over the episodes. And so today we wanted to bring back a few of your faves. So we're going to do 4 catch-ups with some of our past guests.
So we're bringing back Kiara, Aaron, Derria, and Preston.
Yep. So look forward to hearing from them what they're doing now. And then we're going to give you more information on their episodes so you can go back and listen yourselves if you missed those in our early days.
And if you did miss them, you might want to go back and watch them because they're pretty fire. That's why we're bringing these particular 4 people back. We about to get into it. And our first special guest today is Kiara Imani. You might remember her from episode 22, Deconstruct to Rebuild, in which she talked about finding your purpose and how self-actualizing requires breaking through limiting mindsets and beliefs that we might have about ourselves.
So we're excited to hear from you again. Thanks for joining us.
Of course. I'm so glad you asked me back.
I remember during your episode, what stuck with me is I was like, dang, she came in and had her whole program ready. Like, she's like, I don't care what y'all finna ask me. This is what I'm about to say. And you basically had preached that whole episode. So today, we remember that you were working with a different company than I believe you are now. So tell us a little bit about what's different your way from the last time you spoke to us.
Man, I'm like, what was I doing back then? I'm doing so many things now. I signed a publishing deal for my book, Therapy Isn't Just for White People, about mental health in the Black community. It's a nonfiction narrative that kind of uses my own story, but also the story of people in my life, and it talks a lot about trauma that we experience as people of color, not just the traumas where we're thinking about, oh, somebody died or I went through this terrible divorce, but the micro traumas, the microaggressions, the rude things people say to us, the slights of seeing Barbie dolls that don't look like us, and how that adds up, and how a lot of times carrying lots of micro traumas can affect you the same as one big trauma. And we tell ourselves because nothing big happened, I'm okay, but we're not okay. So learning to acknowledge that, but also push through and break through that. So super excited about that book. I'm not working a 9-to-5 full-time anymore. I'm doing a lot of contracting, which is great. It's given me so much flexibility over my schedule, which to me is one of the most important things. I love to work, maybe a little bit too much, but I like doing it on my terms. So contracting has been amazing. And I'm a radio host on KBLA Talk 1580 every night, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. It's Tavis Smiley Station. It's politics, pop culture, what's happening in my life, what's happening in the callers' lives. And just really connecting with people in the community. And I obviously love to talk, as you mentioned the last time. I was preaching the whole time. So I was a little nervous about doing a 3 hours a day, 5 days a week thing, but it's working out just fine.
Well, that sounds good. Congrats on your book and your new endeavors. When you talked about your book, it kind of made me think of one of our recent episodes, Decolonizing Therapy, and the same type of themes around understanding what can lead us to where we are that's different than other people. So that's really good. I'm glad to see that kind of knowledge getting out there. What would you say is kind of the underlying theme in your life with all of these different endeavors you have going on? Like something, what you care about and what you want to impact?
Sharing stories, sharing them honestly, sharing vulnerably. And I think being present is such a buzzword right now. Everyone talks about, oh, you've got to be mindful and present. And it's very easy to tell ourselves we're present because we go to dinner and we don't check our phones. And when we're with other people, we're present. But I actually posted today on Instagram about how I read that most people don't know they're happy when they're happy. It's not till something catastrophic happens that they realize, wow, I was happy yesterday. So just being okay with where you are in your process and kind to your process and not always looking for next steps. People keep asking me like, you're doing so much now, like what's next for you? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm really happy in the present. I'm actually happy in this space, and whatever I'm doing now, if I do it well, it's going to lead to the next space. So I think in my book and radio, and even as I mentioned, contracting, it just gives me the ability to be present in my own life, to be present in my process, and to really just enjoy the present moment. And I encourage people to do the same. And especially when you talk about therapy, like, yes, I encourage people to go to therapy. I think it's very important. But even more so than that, what therapists are really good at doing are forcing you to pay attention to the pieces of our story that we've become so used to that we don't even realize that, they're novel or they're affecting us, or we're like, oh yeah, I'm the oldest of 3 kids and I had to take care of my siblings a lot when I was younger, but that's not a big deal. And the therapist's like, no, be present in your own story. That's a big deal. So maybe that's why you're a leader. Maybe that's why you learn to take charge, and just really paying attention to the things that we so easily gloss over in our own stories.
Yeah, I think that that's so important, and such a big lesson for all of us. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that and for all the useful content that you're putting out and posting for all of us and all of our journeys.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the biggest lessons that you've maybe learned in the last couple years?
Man, again, I post everything, I think, about, sitting under the shade of a tree that I planted a long time ago. I think when you're in that season of planting, you don't see fruit. Like, it takes a while for the fruit to break through. And I know a lot of people who I think are really close to breaking through, and they quit because they can't see the fruit. And, you just got to keep going. You got to trust, you got to have faith, you got to water that seed, because fruit does come. I fully believe that anything you put time and energy and love into will grow. Doesn't always look the way you thought it was going to look. Like, you might have thought you were planting an apple tree and you really got an orange tree. And, I definitely didn't see myself doing radio. It makes sense now. I love to talk. I was planting seeds thinking I was growing a different tree. And now I'm like, whoa, I'm all the way up here. But, just the importance of, again, being present in your own story, planting your seeds and waiting to see what tree grows, and not being too upset if it's a different tree, because it might be something better than, you thought you were going to get in the first place.
I love that. So be present, plant your tree, do the work, and then be ready for those fruits and enjoy them, I think is a big part of that too. Sometimes we're in a position where we have a lot of work to do and it feels awesome, but you're not really enjoying yourself, or you're not, something's kind of missing. So I'm glad to see that through your journey, you've tried some different things, landed in a place that you feel good about. And hopefully that's a lesson in itself for those that are listening.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll definitely add to, just last thing, the importance of just liking yourself and liking what you're doing, and not looking to the left or right, or what Auntie so-and-so is going to say about your journey, or what so-and-so is going to say about your fruit. Nobody cares. Nobody goes to bed, I don't think. I hate using absolutes, but most people are not going to bed at night thinking about your story and your journey. They're so caught up in themselves. So do what makes you happy.
I love that. And let us know, and let the listeners know where you want them to connect with you these days.
You can connect with me on Instagram, Kiara Imani Will. I'm on there all the time anyway.
Awesome. So follow Kiara. Hopefully we get to see more about your book and the other awesome things that you're doing. I don't know if you have a call-in radio show, but maybe I can call in.
I do.
Get you with the Frasier. Try to get some advice.
They do.
We sure do. 1-800-940-1580. Every night. Call in. I'm there.
She's there.
Yeah, every night. Wow. Well, congratulations on all your efforts. Thank you so much for joining us again, dropping gems as always, keeping it straight to the point, and giving us something to think about as we celebrate everything that you have going on. Thank you so much, Kiara.
Thank you. Congrats to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Next, we have the pleasure of talking to Ace Simpson. He was on episode 18 called Faith, Fitness, and Finding Yourself. And in his episode, what I really remember the most from it is that Ace was really talking about his journey of how he even discovered fitness as a way to, like, if you manage yourself, you can kind of manage anything. And how he used fitness to kind of get out of depression and some other issues, and how it really changed his life. So Ace, thank you so much for coming back with us, joining us for 150.
Yeah, come on, let's go 150.
Even though you in a car right now in the car garage, it's okay. You gonna have time to do your drop in a minute.
I was about to say it's in between hustles. He's working right now.
I'm in the dungeon right now.
Well, as long as you have Wi-Fi or whatever signal, then you good. You doing better than me.
I'm not asking no questions. He got something. I remember you really talking about your pivot and what to do whenever life kind of throws a wrench in your plan. Like when you think you're going to do a thing and then it turns out to be something really different. And I just want to know, like, what are you up to now? I see you popping on social media, praying over people, doing all that stuff, but like out here popping. So what you got going on?
First of all, thank you for having me on this special episode of 150. I'm very grateful to play a small part in these episodes. And thank you for having me come back. Like the last, I think it was February of 19, right? It was something like that. So we're talking 2 years ago. The last year has been crazy. The social media thing and that taking off out of nowhere. And, it's really been just me stepping into this new space, I guess. And like, I listened to the episode that we did not too long ago, just to kind of have like a refresher. And you could hear like bits and pieces, like in that interview, like seeds that were being planted of where I was going to be like now. But it was kind of more so fitness based because that was the topic. But I just remember like everybody, like when the pandemic happened, you're kind of like, you're stuck in this position of just like trying to figure stuff out. And, if you've used it correctly, I believe, if that's the right word, you got some healing. You allowed your free time to deal with some stuff that you put away. And for me, it allowed me to hear what I felt like I was being led to do without having any distractions. And I had no idea the social media thing was going to take off the way it did. I just remember I was frustrated like everyone else, trying to figure out what am I going to do during this time. And, my birthday was in April. So it was like right at the very beginning of the pandemic. And I just remember being super frustrated because I felt like I had something to say, but I didn't know what to say and how to do it. And I remember just having a battle with God and just like being angry, like, why am I feeling this way? What is it that you want me to do? And I remember it was July 2nd of 2020. I was in my living room and he was like, put a prayer out on TikTok. And I was like, what? What do you want me to do? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, all right. I had no followers, nothing on TikTok, never really used it. And then I did. And then the next day I had like 3,000 views. I'm like, what? I never had, I don't think 300 views on Instagram. And I just kept doing it and kept doing it. And next thing you know, like, it's that like, not that the followers are really that important in terms of like numbers and why I'm doing it, but it's just like, we're almost at 300,000 people in our community and we're approaching 100,000 on Instagram. And it's been such a blessing for me to use this platform to share my gift, but also to like genuinely see people being helped through it has been such an amazing blessing to see and to witness and to be a part of. And, I'm just super grateful to be able to pivot when God told me to pivot and to be obedient when he told me to be obedient.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing. What would you say has been like one or two keys to that forward movement in that direction, like to maintaining that? I think a lot of people may have posted a post and seen it do well, but then like, how did you really kind of determine to like stick with that? And has anything changed for you because of that growth?
That's a great question. I think for me, it was easy for me to kind of be consistent because I'm being authentic. I'm being myself. And what people are seeing now is stuff that I was doing behind the scenes with my friends, with my family, and what I was doing behind the scenes, like just growing within my church family and getting stronger with that. Communication has always been my gift. I was always the person that people came to for advice and things like that and words of wisdom. Like that's always been who I was. And now I think he was like, all right, it's time for everyone else to see. So as far as being consistent, it's easier when you're being authentic and you're not trying to be a trend. You're not trying to keep up with things. Like you're not trying to see what everyone else is doing and duplicating it. And I do believe like there are certain things that you need to obey with the algorithm. But however, the algorithm is never going to defeat authenticity. And when you are being truly authentic 24/7, it's going to pierce through whatever algorithm there is out there. And even as I started to grow at such a rapid pace, it was never about the numbers for me. It was just my whole thing. Every video that I make is a one-on-one connection with me and that person that's watching it. I don't care about how many people see it. I try to make it as personal as possible. Like I'm having a one-on-one communication with just one person. So that's it. As far as like what's changed for me now, it's, we've talked offline about this, now I believe it's time for me to fully step into this from like a business standpoint and really start sharing my gift to the world outside of social media, but still using social media, but being a business, like having a brand behind that and really fine tuning everything and making sure everything is a smooth operating. Like I'm a brand, like I'm like Apple, like I'm not Apple in terms of that, but like I'm my own entity. And so I have to make sure that I protect that. And I have to make sure that systems are in place, that growth always continues, whether I'm making content or not. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at right now, is transitioning from just making videos to building the brand and the business so it's sustainable for years to come.
But a brand and a business that does what specifically, or if because I know your focus before was pretty specifically on physical training, I would say. And so will this lead folks to your business there with physical training, or do you see that kind of evolving because there's more speaking involved and maybe more focus on like the mental?
Yeah, it's kind of all things in one. Like the beautiful part about everything is coming full circle. And I'm starting to realize why my journey with fitness, like what I discussed with you guys, why it happened, why, my depression, my anxiety, and like all the things that I dealt with happened, why my relationship with God is the way it is. Like it's all happening and coming together at the same time. So it's all going to be holistic wellness, mind, body, soul. So you're going to be able to be fed mentally. You're going to be able to be fed spiritually. You're going to be able to be fed physically. And it's about being the best version of yourself holistically, internally, and using these pillars to apply to your everyday life to pursue whatever your calling or purpose is. Because for me, fitness was never really about the body, or it was at one point, but now it's just about, dude, I'm just trying to be as healthy as I possibly can to stay in my purpose and my calling for as long as I possibly can. And I think everything that you do should be in alignment with what you're called to do. So like if you're called to do something, then you physically have to be prepared for that. Like your training should reflect the level of what your calling is. The way that you eat should reflect the level of what your calling is. Your spiritual well-being should reflect the level of what your calling is. So it's like, it's making sure that all those essential pillars are checked. So when life throws you a curveball like COVID, yeah, you may take a hit, but your foundation is so strong that you're able to bounce back when it's time to bounce back.
Man, where do I send the tithes, bro?
Right?
Hey, what's the Cash App? Drop it right now, because I was touched. I ain't gonna hold you. I was touched just now. Like, and you're right, because that is a beautiful way to connect it, and that really every part of our lives is still rooted in that purpose. And you don't just hop up and do things any old way. Like, no, like you take care of your body so you can do more of it, so you can help more people, and you do all of the things to better serve your purpose. So I love the way you put that together. Everybody listening, you can cash app Coach Ace.
Yeah.
We got to add that in the show notes.
Cash app them ties.
We're going to have to add that to the show notes.
Have to have Ace back for a full episode.
Right. I'm going to have to just start calling Ace.
I know. I'm going to start calling Ace. He's going to be like, what?
Listen, let me know. I promise you I will not be in a garage when we do the next episode.
That's what you say.
I promise you. But I do want to say one more thing, because I know our time is short. For anybody that's listening or watching, you're never as far as you think. And my whole life up until like the last 3 years, I always felt like I was just in quicksand, just trying to make it. And sometimes the way our mind works is we're always thinking about the next 5 or 10 steps, and we underestimate what we can do in 10 years, and we overestimate what we can do in a year. And because of that, we put all this unnecessary pressure on ourselves to compare, to do all these different things, and it puts us in a position of being paralyzed. And so for anybody that's watching this right now that feels stuck, that feels like they don't know what their purpose is, their calling is, or what they're being led to do, you're okay. The fact that you feel that is a good thing, because that means that you care. So the next thing that you do is just focus on what you can control and let go of everything else that's taking and distracting you from controlling the controllables. And then as you allow yourself to master that space, the next step of what to do will come.
Wise words.
Wise words from a decent man.
Thank you, Ace. Before
Absolutely.
we let you go, please remind people where they can connect with you, or how they could reach out to you, however you'd like that to look.
Sure. So I am Coach Ace on all social media platforms, TikTok, Twitter. I'm rarely on Twitter, but Instagram and TikTok specifically is I am Coach Ace. You can find me on there. I'm very active in the community, so like if you send me DMs, if they're, don't be sending me them joints, I don't do that. I've had to, I just found out today that somebody else tried to set up another fake account.
Yeah, that's getting bad.
Yeah.
It's weird, but yeah, you can find me on those platforms. DM me, let me know that you found me through this episode and through this show. But that's where I'm most heavy at.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks
we'll continue to follow and see what happens with you. I'm looking forward to coming to your workshop seminar when you're next Tony Robbins, but not Tony Robbins. You're gonna be you.
We're gonna cheers to that.
Look, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna show up. Maybe I'll put the marketing together for the whole seminar. You never know. But
come on, let's talk about it.
Thank you, Ace. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. For sure. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a great conversation with Ace, I would say. But next we have
drum roll,
another fan favorite. We still got people discovering her episode, commenting on the episode, talking about they crying and whatnot. Like we could have just stopped, apparently.
In paragraphs.
After episode 10, which featured Derria /Dlolo. And her episode was episode 10, Take a Risk. So in her episode, I remember a lot of the focus was around just dropping the things that you're doing, what you're comfortable with, and taking a leap for her, move to LA to really dive in on this stylist world, and to just see how she can create a path that she couldn't, make happen in the wrong place or in the place that she was. So thank you, Derria, for being with us. Welcome to episode 150.
150.
Yay! Happy 150.
Thank you. So Derria, how are you?
What's good?
What's new? This was like 2 years ago, maybe 2 and a little bit that we talked to you.
Yeah.
And you were excited about being in LA. How long have you been here now?
It'll be 4 years in like 2 weeks. Crazy.
Still making it, still here, still standing.
Still here. I'm still here. No, it's good. I think a lot has changed since we last talked. I know I was talking a lot about styling and now I'm kind of backing off from that because just for now, it's just a lot of work having to like drive around and shop. Like I don't mind doing virtual stuff, but you know, we're still in a panini, we're still in a panoramic, and I don't really feel like doing it. I don't want to drive around and buy stuff for people right now. I just don't want to. So I've taken a seat back from that. Like all of my old clients, I'll still, you know, shop for them, but anybody new, I'm just like, oh, I'm not doing it right now. But I've really stepped up in influencing and creating content. So that has been like the biggest thing for me right now. It's been pretty exciting because I've learned a lot. Learned my worth, learned just every day I'm learning something new, really. So it's been pretty cool.
You love to hear it. You love to hear it and to see it.
Yes.
In your episode, it was all about taking a risk. That was like the title of the episode. So have you been taking any risks lately, chasing some other dreams or things that might be different or new?
If anything, I've just kind of been trusting the things that have been happening. Like, my biggest thing right now is like, I really want a new car. In my mind, it was like, oh, you're gonna save up this money, you're gonna go to the lot and you're gonna pay cash. And recently that changed. Like God was like, that ain't how you really gonna do it. And that's how I've been thinking about it for the last maybe 3-4 years. Like, because that's what my grandma did. She only pays cash for her cars. So that's why I was like, oh, that's a goal. I want to do that. And then God was just recently like, girl, I don't know, what do you think you is? That's not how we gonna do it. So it's like just trusting little things that I thought like, this is going to be my path, just trusting stuff like that. And so, and I'm still working full time, which is cool because the bills are paid, but it's like, you could just feel when things are going to have their end, you know? And so I'm just trying to trust that, you know, I'm not going to be in a space where I'm like dead dog tired because I'm working a full-time job and doing all this stuff, you know? And so I just know that great things are coming and I'm just trying to push through, really.
What about that risk you took when you had posted a product and that whole sold out before I got any of it?
Oh.
And that you didn't even tell me about. Let's talk about that.
Well, I'm sorry you're not on the World Wide Web that often. I don't know.
Right. I need to start looking at stories. I was just saying that the other day.
Yeah, you're not on your page that often. You doing your client stuff. But yeah, well, so I designed that product last year, right before the pandemic, and I got it made and everything. And I have been sitting on it. It's a necklace. It's a cartouche necklace that says creator and Egyptian hieroglyphs. And so, yeah, I had just been sitting on it. I was scared to release it. I don't know why. I don't even think I was scared. I just wanted it to be super perfect. I had already paid for it to be made. I had just been holding on to them. Then I finally got the boxes made, and I don't know what it was, but recently I was just like, look, you've been sitting on these necklaces for so long. What the hell? I could have made money a long time ago. And so I was just like, everything can't be perfect, because I think in my mind I was like, oh, I want to have all these like nice videos to promote it. And I was like, Derria, it'll be another year if you keep playing those games, because it's just hard to like try and do that plus all the other stuff I got to do for brands, you know, who are also paying me. And so yeah, I was just like, look, do a little video in your room right before you go to work and throw that hoe up on Friday. How about that? And so yeah, it sold out in an hour, so I wasn't mad at that. So
you would have been mad if you had spent all that time making videos. You would have been upset that you hadn't had 10,000 of them things made. And I think it's so funny how it's like, I think you underestimate your own influence, which you mentioned earlier. So focusing on being an influencer, how would you say you are getting closer to your goals, making money in that way? What does that look like if you're taking a step back from styling to do that?
It looks good. Honestly, like I've kind of gotten it down to a science of like, okay, I'm going to do things for brands. Like I'm going to, you know, take gigs from them, but that also fuels my own thing. So I want to do, like, I want to have clothing products. I want to design other things. So that money, in addition to me working full time, I have that, like, that's play money essentially. So I'm like, okay, I'm able to invest. Like, now I'm going to restock the necklace. I'm getting way more. And so it's not, you know, I'm not underestimating myself anymore, because I'm like, okay, I know if I can sell people's random ass deodorant or like some random biker shorts, then why am I not selling my own stuff? It's like, come on. So it just it feels good, because people, like, again, my audience trusts me, and I don't take that for granted. Still, I'm like, it's stuff that comes through my email, and I'm just like, I ain't gonna use that shit, so I'm not gonna be on here telling you to use it just because I want to check. I'm just not gonna do it. So it feels good that people trust me, and that they'll buy things that I say. I mean, I'm just glad it ain't no drugs I'm telling them to buy, you know? So yeah.
I'm about to say, I know I trust everything you be saying.
Because you're so thoughtful.
She be looking so cool too, man.
Yeah.
Damn. She be looking so cool. Everything. She put the damn deodorant on. I was like, damn, that deodorant does look cool.
And I was like, and where that set come from? I know this is for deodorant, but I like that set.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
that was from Sweaty Betty. It's real comfortable too.
mm-hmm.
It was real comfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I'm hyped to see that and hear that, like, as a creator who you said sells so many other people's stuff all the time, to, you know, be creating things that you care about. And are there any other lessons or anything big that's happened for you, like, since we last talked? So in addition to, like, launching your own products and things, is there anything else?
Not really. I think that, just piggybacking off what you guys said, like, we definitely underestimate our potential. Like, I feel like in our minds, we know that we're dope people. We know that we have dope ideas, but we focus too much on it being perfect, and like, you know, like, just looking at what other people do, we get wrapped up in that. And then next thing you know, a year has gone by, and we're still in the same place. And I feel like we just have to get out of our own way. Because I know I've definitely been in that place, like, damn, like, I can't even get mad at this person and this person. I can't get mad at my mom because it's me. Like, this is all me, you know? And so, I don't know. I'm excited that I'm realizing, like, it's really you, Derria. You gotta keep pushing yourself. Like, yeah, it's cool to have people who, you know, cheer you on and stuff like that, but they can do that all day. But if you don't believe in yourself, then you're not going anywhere. So it's cool to be able to, like, really believe in the things that I want to accomplish, and I know that I can get them done. I don't know the timeline, but you just got to keep working, and then it just kind of happens. So yeah,
that
I'm just
is
excited.
Absolutely facts. Thank you for sharing. My question for you would be, with the pandemic and everything going on just in general, outside of, you know, you also working and doing your other work as well, how do you take time for yourself, or what have you been kind of doing to, you know, just manage your energy amidst the different levels of work that you're doing?
Recently I just started, like, making sure that, because my essential days off are Saturday and Sunday. It's the weekend, because I work full time Monday through Friday. So I've been trying to at least do one day on the weekend where I'm not doing anything. I'm not trying to create any content. I'm not trying to work. So even if it's me going to brunch, or if I'm just going to be in the mall, a couple malls all day, because that's what I want to do, then I'm trying to do that. And then, you know, of course, maybe it's a Sunday that I'm actually working. So I'm just trying to make sure that I commit to, like, one day to doing something I like doing, and I'm not feeling guilty. Because I think that's another thing. We get wrapped up in feeling guilty where we're not working all the time, because the culture of just, like, overworking yourself is annoying to me. Like, I don't want to be that person where I'm overworked and, you know, and I'm booked, busy, and just can't even enjoy the fruits of my labor. I don't want to be that person. So I think that that's good that I've dedicated to, like, really having one day to myself. Because eventually it'll be like, oh, I got 7 days to myself. And I'm like, oh, I only work one day a week.
Right. You would do one project a year and be getting millions off that one project.
And then play. Have all that play money.
Right. So yeah, that has been that. And then also, I've been working out more. So that's been cool. It's just trying to get used to working out 5 days a week it's a struggle, but it's it's something I want to do because obviously I want to look good too. I don't want to, there are times when I just sit on the couch and eat snacks, and I want to be able to keep that. I don't want to get bigger. So yeah, just really taking care of myself, especially because we're getting older, we're not getting younger, and it's catching up to us. So yeah.
I love it. And speaking of getting older, the day that this is dropping today is your birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. That's all we doing. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not over there
Thank you.
dancing. All right, Fabo. Throw that snap in the air and catch it.
Hey.
It's so ridiculous. No, happy birthday, Dlolo.
Yes, happy birthday.
You'll have a whole nother year of style to wow us with. More links, more life.
Links, more money,
more things to shop and buy from Derria.
Right.
As always. As always.
No, thank you very much for the update. We love just talking to everybody, getting little quick words of wisdom and seeing where you are, what you've been learning. And it sounds like, everything's going the way it should go. That, I think the most important thing is as things continue to change, like we're consistently learning and, putting new applications to it. So we appreciate you. We are sure that all of your fans that you already have are excited for the work that you're doing, just as we are. Let the people know where they can connect with you or find you these days.
Well, of course, I'm on Instagram at Dlolo, DLOLO, and my website, whatwouldderiawear.com.
All right, you heard it, guys.
Right.
Follow Derria, check her out.
Only if you're trying to spend money, though, because she will be in your pockets.
Right, because don't be trying to blame me.
Blame it on Dlolo.
Right. No, you the definite culprit. Shout out Derria. Thank you for joining us on our 150, and we appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, shout out to Dlolo. It's always great having Derria around and on the podcast.
Yeah, she's a clown.
Oh, man.
That's what I'm going to say.
Our next guest, our last guest of today, I'm super happy to introduce is Preston Dawson. You may remember him from episode 45, A Little Luck, A Lot of Preparation. And if you haven't listened to it, go ahead and run that back. In his episode, he talked about how his life developed with a little bit of luck, but mainly being prepared and working really hard and knowing what you want, and all of his breakdowns and breakthroughs in creating a life that he wants to live.
Yeah, shout out Superhero P, because also we've mentioned you like in 4 or 5 other episodes.
10, 12.
Be like, yeah, you remember like that Superhero P, you gotta come up with that alter ego. And that's really like our main takeaway, I think, from that. I created an ego. I need to actually look at that again, but we reference that often, and we thought that was such an interesting way to kind of like develop where you want to move forward. So Preston, thank you for joining us on 150. My first question is, how are you looking as Superhero P, or has Superhero P changed?
First of all, thanks for having me back. I didn't know that was episode 45, so that was a while back. But more importantly, congrats on getting to what you guys at 150 now?
Yeah, this is 150.
This is 150.
That's huge. That's something that I'll maybe I'll get to that later. But consistency, compound, compounding and building. So salute to y'all. I'm very proud, and inspired by that. To learn something from y'all with the consistency. And back to your question, Hero P. I think it's funny because I just thought about that recently, and I'm starting to embrace that it's not a destination.
Say more.
With a lot of things in life, we can't just chase the goals of destination. So now I'm getting to saying, what is stopping me from being Hero P right now? I may not be everything that I wrote on paper, or Hero P is going to be, I don't have the $5 million mansion and a bunch of the Porsches and the Ferraris yet, and this lifestyle, but I realize how you're going to get there if you don't become it first, So that's the biggest thing now. And I think I'm working towards that every day. I think I didn't realize that once I created that, I set a goal, a lifetime goal. So every day, every month, during these challenging times and everything, I started to realize you're building the components of what it takes to be Hero P, but while you're doing that, you're still building it. Even as a NBA basketball player, you don't become an NBA player once you win a championship. You're an NBA player once you get drafted, before you play your first game. So you kind of have to embrace that. But of course, you know, your first year or two, you're lost. You're not understanding what being a professional is, even though you are that. So we got to give ourselves some grace to claim it, but also realize once you claim it, that starts your journey of learning it. So that's where I'm at right now, honestly, just going through my journey of learning it.
Oh man, thank you for sharing that. And that journey, Jim, is so real. For people who maybe haven't heard the episode, Hero P was his idealized self, like who he wants to be in the future. And I remember you specifically talked about like writing down the adjectives and the actions and even cutting out pictures and those things. And so in this journey, Hero P, that you currently are and still working on, you know, does that look the same? Do you still have your folder that you look at? Do you say affirmations? Like, is there anything that you do to connect with that higher version of yourself?
Definitely. So I still look at those same notes. You know, you get caught up in life sometimes, and I have to remember, you know, remind myself, just like any other journey in life, fitness or, you know, mental health or working towards your career or saving money, you can get kind of taken away from it in life, but you always have that to go back to. So it's so important to write those things down. So, yeah, I still go back to it. I still, you know, try to remind myself who I am, you know what I'm saying? You know, look in the mirror, you know, remind yourself you that, you know, whatever adjective you want to use, but you got to remind yourself. The biggest thing that's probably not changed, but developed part of that is, and it's funny because you guys always talk about my cliches. Here's another one, but I came up with the things that like use every day to character kind of rules. And it started with the 3 Ps and now it's at the 10 Ps. And I remember, and I think if off the top of my head, it's patience, poise, persistence, and processes will bring progression towards positivity, peace, power, prosperity, and your purpose.
Oh.
So, it could go on, but and those basically are things that, man, even today, you know, you get a certain call, you get a bot, somebody wants to talk to you. Okay, I say, which 10 Ps can I use? Right here, poise, positivity, stay persistent, you know, find your peace in this moment. So those became like these rules that I use every day. And actually on my hero, you know, the list of who I want to be is Hero P. Those are his characteristics. So I started finding ones, you know, that I could use every day. And it's just, it's my, you know, it's P, they're all P. So it's easy for me to remember. So that's been like a game changer. I really came out with that probably during last year. And there's been some times, man, I was being tested in personal life and by clients, and I said, this is an opportunity to work on your poise. This is an opportunity to get better. If you have those things, you just don't write it down and become great at it. You got to recognize the situations that allow you to practice, fail, practice again, fail, practice again. And one thing I think we've had that conversation on this podcast. It just clicks one day. I think we had that on the podcast. It just happens. And you don't realize that switch happens, but it was through so much practice, fail, you get a little bit better, you know, you handle it, you go back and look back like, dang, I didn't really work on my poise. I didn't really work on I didn't recognize my power in this. So that's become like my lifeline, man. That's saved me, and that's become like this little guidebook I use daily. Yeah.
I love that. And I can identify that with that as well, because you have to have a direction to even really be able to do that. And what's interesting is like, we can always say like, we want to be better at a thing, or we want to see more of something, or be more abundant in a certain space. But it's like, if you're not able to recognize conflict and problems and issues for what they are, as like, all right, quickly, like, what am I getting out of this? How can I reframe this? Or what can I practice in this moment? Then there's never going to be any real change. And it's so interesting. Like I've realized this recently also, that it's like, oh, every time I say like I'm trying to work on something, it's like it's like, here come all these like things to test you with it. And it's like, oh, now I learned to like, oh yeah, this is a good opportunity. Like the other day, get in an argument. Oh, this is a good opportunity to build my communication that I said I was going to work on. And getting excited about it in that way instead. I think that's a great framework and a great way to look at those things.
Thank you. Yeah. And I hope it helps everybody. I can't emphasize how much it's been a life changer, and it's got me out of my own way. You know, sometimes even just slowing down to think about those things makes me not make a move off a reaction that could have been detrimental, you know? So
yeah. Isn't it so funny how things like randomly are like click? I wonder what makes that happen. Like, do you think it's just like, you just got to be ready for it to recognize it, or?
Here we go. I love reading. I guess I'm like a little kid that reads. I really believe in the compound effect, you know? So I believe we're compounding, but just, you know, you're not seeing the result, but you're putting in the work. It's compounding. And that's hard to believe until you've applied and see some results. And you're like, oh, okay. The cliche. It's a cliche for a reason. Like, so I think it's just that. I think, and that's why I get with patience, just working on it. No, I'm not going to see it, but one day it's going to it just clicks. It just becomes, you know, our brains adapt, you know, we're products of our environment. So even doing all that stuff in your head, you're changing your environment. You're changing your mental environment. So yeah.
That's what I say. Yeah, I think it's a mix of work, you know, preparation, but also envisioning it. So being able to know what it is, like things don't just happen. Like, yeah, I think it's a perfect storm of all of those things.
Right.
Yeah, it's so interesting. We've had 4 guests on today, including yourself, and you've all very much been like, listen, like, I wouldn't have necessarily guessed that I'd be right here, but I did have high aspirations, and like, here I am, and I'm enjoying this moment. And so it's very interesting, you know, even when we all kind of listen to podcasts or read books about successful people, talk amongst each other, and you always hear kind of the same things about, okay, hard work and love the process, blah, blah, blah. But to your point, cliche P, like, cliches are cliche for a reason. And like, you know, everybody's saying that today, and even talking to them and what's happened with their journey just in the last couple of years. So let us know also what's new with you as far as like your work and the things that you're really pushing forward as far as your creativeness. Creativity is probably the actual word that goes there. And the things that you're working on. Because I remember before we talked about, you know, you and your camera work and Cubist and the agency, etc. What are you working on now?
Yeah, you know, the last year I've gotten a lot more into production. So behind the camera, a lot of editing as well. This year I kind of started stepping into agency work, which was a goal of mine when I went freelance, but I couldn't get in the door. So survival, I just started my own thing. And once again, took many years. I was putting my head down, the opportunity came to me, and I was like, oh man, this is a big, and then I realized, hold up, this is what I wanted many years ago. So I'm blessed. But it's a whole new challenge. It's a complete fish out of water, and I needed that. So that's where I'm at now, you know, getting into producer work, creative producer. I mean, titles are weird these days, basically doing everything creative. But with that said, it got me a little bit more focused, and my goal eventually would be art direction, everything under art direction to creative direction. So yeah, just taking my steps. That's where I'm at now. Get behind the camera here and there. You know, I know we've been all kind of in a pandemic. It's been tricky. So I've been more behind the computer doing editing, and that's been great. To see a whole nother side, that's just changed my my view on even how I approach the camera, and doing some art direction in my personal time, design, learning, studying is, you know, last year sat my tail down to really study, to really think about things, to understand my craft. Sometimes it's so easy to just pick up a camera, so easy to get in the computer. So, you know, so easy to turn on some mics and start podcasting. Everybody thinks they could get in the game. And then after a while, you take some time to study, you know, study what's great and how to do this for real, you know, how to really take it to the next level. So that's where I'm at right now, you know, doing some agency work. And as much as people say, oh, I'm independent, I was happy to go back to
no, that's right. Look, cut the check. And then all I have to think about is what I need to do.
Yeah, can we keep it real? It's freelance is beautiful. I play a lot of golf. 5 days a week. It was beautiful, but the biggest thing I really didn't realize was the benefit of working with a team. And now I'm learning, and I got out my ego and realized, and I think that's why I took some of these opportunities, in front of me now to work with a team in the agency, because I had kept saying this, I want to be the weakest person in the room, but I wasn't in any rooms. And now I'm in the room, and hey, be careful what you ask for. I'm sitting here, like the rookie, and it's humbling, but it's what I asked for and it's what I need. And now I have the, it's been weird with, working from a distance. But once we get in the office, I have so many people who have 10, 15 years. They've done this, they've done that. They've been on these big productions. Our company, production company, work with a lot of big networks and stuff. So it's been really a blessing. I'm just a student right now. I went back to school. So that's it. I'm getting paid, and I'm blessed, but I'm just a big student that's just trying to learn and be patient. Say, put your time in, put your years, the opportunity, the big opportunities you want, the titles, the roles, the checks, the salary, it will come, but you can't fast track it. You can't skip it. You got to put in the time. And that's where I'm at. That changed a lot in the last year. I finally let go of rushing everything. I just think I'm gonna be an old man anyway, so I might as well just take my time, learn it, and get it right, rather than trying to learn everything fast, do everything fast, and keep resetting, So just and say, don't worry about it. If you're in the game, if you're around it, your brain absorbs it. You observe, you absorb, and you'll get there. Opportunities will come. Your opportunities are watching you. They're just waiting for you to put your time in the game and stick around. But they watch you, and they'll know when you're ready. Opportunity, whatever the opportunity is, they'll know when you're ready. But they're watching already. So that's
He preaching too.
That's a fact. And it's always funny that the longer we go on our paths, it's like all of a sudden you kind of realize, like, oh, I'm doing everything. Like, I've gotten to do everything I was wanting to do. And it's, it's not even really about trying to get to a thing specifically, but it's like, I've got to do a lot of cool things. And so, it's not even about like, oh man, I'm old and I'm just here or whatever. But, all of it kind of counts that you've been able to do so many different things. Are you able to talk about any of the projects that you're working on?
I don't know.
That's real.
Let the NDAs dry. Let the ink dry.
I've had to sign some NDAs. That's when you signing that NDA, you're like, yeah, I'm here.
Right.
That's a real answer. Nothing. All right, cool.
No, but I would say I've been working on some stuff that's related to some cool shows. Not on the show, but supportive stuff with some networks and some cool shows that we probably all watch. So when stuff comes out, I guess we have this talk again, I could let you know, but it's it's been some.
I wish awesome. Well, that's good. Look, you're all smiles. So for people watching, like, y'all see him smiling, so them checks must be clearing. So
man.
That's a good feeling. Preston, Hero P, let the people know, how can they connect with you or reach you these days? I know you kind of off the grid, huh?
Yeah, I stay low key.
Unless you on the golf course.
Yeah, right. Like, yo, catch them at the country club if you can.
That brand, I live that private party life, private life. No, Instagram, picasso.p, a website, cubiscreativestudio.com. And yeah, that's basically where to reach me. I'm easy, to reach. Say what's up. Let's talk business, talk life, talk books. Need book recommendations. Jump in my DM, and that's what I'm about. So.
Perfect.
Always a pleasure, P.
Now, y'all, thank you. Y'all glowing. Y'all smiling. Bless you, Queens, for what you do. I'm always retweeting. Y'all dropping mental health. And for people who don't know, people who watch this podcast, it's time. Salute y'all. Y'all are two of my favorite, most genuine people. No funny, just great friends, great people. So I'm glad that you guys have stuck with this. I need you guys to get your sponsors. I need you guys to get whatever you need, your flowers and everything. But keep doing this. We need this, So all of us need to, whether we watch the whole episode, we just catch a clip on Twitter that, let me retweet. Let me send this to somebody. Let me send this to somebody I mentor. Let me send this to a friend, a family. Somebody's going through it. I've done that so many times. So I know I'm dragging this out, but thank you both so much on the podcast level and a personal level. You both have been a blessing to my life individually and together. So thank you.
Thank you, Preston, making us feel special. Way to end the podcast. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate this update on you. You were definitely one of the favorite episodes that we had. So we're so glad we got to catch up. Yeah, definitely one of the most referenced for sure. Thank you, Preston. We appreciate it.
All right.
Well, that was fun, Carlie, I would say. Thank you to all of our guests today. Thank you for everybody listening. What are some things you kind of feel like you heard throughout there?
Yo, why was everybody on the same page? And these people don't know each other like that.
Because successful people are always on the same page with those are the things that matter. Like your self-awareness. Yeah, like needing people, letting yourself rest, figure out what you want to do, still being unsure of yourself along the way, but pushing through. People really talked about like doing hard work.
Being consistent, planting trees and not knowing what's going to grow, but being consistent and watering those trees and just being open to what it looks like with the fruit, because it's going to be very different than whatever you thought originally.
Yeah, man. So shout out to all of our guests, to Kiara, to Ace, to Derria, to Preston. We appreciate you, the impact you've had. Shout out to us because we are at 150 out here doing our thing. We're really enjoying the conversations and we get to grow from them ourselves. And so that's one of the coolest things about doing this podcast. So I really enjoyed every single one of those little mini interviews. I like how we put that all together. I think that was pretty cool. So hopefully you guys got something out of it. Please retweet, please share, please comment. Let us know how you feel about this episode. And for anybody else who's interested in being a guest in the future, let us know. Hit us up. We're looking forward to doing another, I don't know, maybe another couple episodes of the podcast.
Just a few.
We'll see what happens. But we've had a great time with it thus far. And we thank you guys for joining us this far along.
Yeah, we appreciate you and wouldn't rather be here with anybody else besides you, Alexia.
Thank you. Same, Carlie. We don't have no question of the week this week.
We don't.
We just gonna tell y'all need to keep on listening and keep sharing the podcast. And thank you so much for being supporters.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Peace.